Hey everyone, June 28th, about 5:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. So first of all, the video is not investment advice. It's done for educational purposes only. And the second thing, that yesterday's video, I talked about a bear flag forming. If you've been watching my videos, you know I talked about this being like the Papa bear flag, the Mama bear flag, the baby bear flag. Now, the reason why I say it like that is because the waves down are getting smaller and smaller. The positive side about the waves getting smaller and smaller to the downside is showing that we're running out of sellers as we progress lower, meaning less and less people are selling at these levels. So in order for price to really push much lower, we need to kind of bolster that sentiment and get it bullish again, and then hammer those people and allow them to create the panic to start to break to even lower levels than where we currently are. Now, there is another way that could happen too, is if a big buyer, like big money, decides to drop a giant bar. So if there's all of a sudden like a $300-400 bar to the downside, that would obviously create enough panic to get even more sellers into this market. But as of now, since Bitcoin really doesn't experience too many of those, and it looks like the waves are getting smaller and smaller, I think we're trying to find that true bottom that we would have found had we not had the intervention back at the 6,000 bottom, and then another clear intervention around 6,400. So I've been telling people at this level, you know, there could be more upside, but you have to be very cautious based on what's happening, based on the prior price action, based on how we're seeing an influx of volume, and then it's immediately being siphoned out. And all day today, volume has been siphoned out of this market, and we just keep seeing this reoccurring theme in the market to where we get a quick injection. Price gets pushed up, everyone gets excited, thinks it's the bottom, and then that volume just gets sucked right back out. So whoever's pushing price up is immediately getting out as fast as they possibly can. So this could just be big money creating artificial bottoms and just getting out and basically giving their positions to quote unquote bag holders, which are the retail traders, the smaller money that comes into the market. They're excited. They feel like they have to trade. They're jumping in the market, trying to ride the wave. They've seen Bitcoin do crazy things in the past. They're waiting for that to happen again. And then boom, they just get completely smashed, causing us to go lower and lower and lower. At the same token, I think a lot of people are also forgetting, like, we're just hovering right above the 2018 low. Now, when an asset breaks to a new low, especially for the year, that is typically a very, very bad sign for the market. It doesn't mean it's the end of cryptocurrency or the end of Bitcoin, but it is a gigantic red flag. I mean, as big as a red flag as we could possibly have on here, it's there, right? We broke to a new low. The current low now for 2018 is 57.55 on Bitfinex. If we start to progress lower tonight into tomorrow and we break below 57.55, we more than likely have a date with the low 5,000 numbers. And the reason why is because if we go back in history now, okay, we found that there was a base somewhere in this area. So if you've been watching my videos for a long time, you know I've talked about like club consolidation, just kind of being playful with what's happening on the chart. But basically, this is like a club of consolidation, meaning there's a group of buyers and sellers. There was a lot of price action at this level, and that hovers right between about 5,100 to about maybe 6,000. So obviously we know 6,000 is done. We smashed through 6,000. We're now just floundering right above 6,000 at 6,002 as I speak right now. If we start to drop lower, then we need to start to go a little further, right? Like we're entering the front door of the club with 6,000. The back door is 5,100. If we start to migrate toward 5,100 and still cannot find buyers, and we break below 5,100, meaning we broke outside and then went straight through the club, no one wants to buy, we are going to progress lower. The same way we did through here when I called this club consolidation. We came to it, bounced right off of it, came back through, kind of hovered in this range, and then boom, eventually broke to a new low under the 6,000 low, meaning that I have no idea where the next consolidation is, maybe around 4,100 or something, but that's starting to get into fantasy land, all right? I don't want to start talking about 4,100 or any crazy numbers like that. That's pure fantasy at the moment. We need to break back down below the 6,000 bottom, and we need to stay under that 6,000 bottom, and then we need to break below 57.55 before any of those numbers are even going to be relevant. And even then, we still have the 5,000s as a safety net before we can possibly go any lower. So the last thing I want people to think about is start thinking about like, oh yeah, we're going to 4,000 or 3,000 or anything like that. We could in theory, but it's going to take time, and there are specific requirements that have to be met before we can progress lower. And it goes the same way with the bull crowd, right? So the bear crowd is looking for these like super small numbers because everyone wants to get super mega rich on the downfall of cryptocurrency if they're short. Now, if you're long and you're looking for an entry and you want to see price go higher, price is going to have to break above the prior local high, which is right here. And that sits about 63.41. So if price is not able to break above 63.41, it's going nowhere, right? The only place we're going to go is kind of hover in this area. If we cannot break above 63.41, we're not going to see new buyers enter the market. If new buyers are not entering the market, then we're left floundering around here until something majorly changes. So until that level is broken, we're not going to the upside. And until 57.55, I think it is, on Bitfinex, we're not going to go any lower. So we're kind of within this range. We're oscillating around. It definitely looks like a bear flag. You can see what happens with bear flags. When you break out, they typically go beyond the range, beyond the low. So if we do go beyond the low, we could retest the bottom of this line. So understand, we've spent a lot of time on this downtrend line. The second one is just the top. It's just another formation based on this line set. I want to see how price reacted to it. So far, we keep shying away from it. But if we do drop down, we could see price settle right in there. And that brings us right to about that 5,300 area or so, maybe 5,100, depending on how fast we drop into time and space. Everything to the right of the chart is time and space that's on the blank canvas. So, that's what we see. We see a downward channel of selling pressure. We're trying to fight it. Bitcoin's trying to fight it, but we're just not finding the buyers. And when we do, and we do have that influx in volume, it's immediately being retracted, which is also a bad sign. I've said it multiple times. It's like you go to buy something, and then as soon as you make the transaction, that person just books it and runs. And it's like they just handed you a bomb, and it's ticking faster and faster and faster, and they're just running and booking, and that's kind of how I feel like it is in this market. And the sad thing on top of all of that is like we're shackled to this manipulation in price, and without that manipulation in price, like we saw at 6,000, like we saw at 6,400, like we saw multiple times, if I go back to the chart, without that, price is going to drop, and it's going to have to flounder around. And there's going to be a lot of volatility. It's going to make it very tough to trade until we find the natural bottom in this market. And then once we find that natural bottom, I think we'll build a base, and then that base could lead to a new bull market, but it's going to take time. And I don't think a lot of people understand it, no matter how many times I say it in these videos. And it's not like I'm talking down to anybody. I don't want it to come across that way, but I just really want to emphasize the time element in Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. A lot of people on Twitter, social media, people on mainstream media, they're just hyping up these ridiculous figures, whether they're up or down. It could be 1,000 Bitcoin, it could be 1 million Bitcoin. I don't care what it is. It's just people are hyping up these radical numbers, and everyone's giving them attention because it's what sells. It's what the whole idea of getting mega rich very fast sells to everybody. There's nobody out there that does not want to get mega rich really fast. There's not a single person on this planet. So the whole idea behind it, like psychologically, is a big selling point. The downside is people are going to make irrational decisions. They're going to make stupid decisions, and they're going to put themselves in places they should not have due to this crazy price projections beyond reality, okay? And we can see the time element factor here, meaning that we're moving more horizontal as I draw the arches. Now, I know everyone's seen this and like, James, this is so redundant. Why do you keep doing this? I just have to emphasize the time. As we move to the horizontal plane, time becomes an element. Time also equals volatility as we flounder around, okay? We may do it as a slight decrease as the market is trying to find a bottom, and that's ultimately what I think we're doing, is trying to find that bottom. And we may do something like this, right? And then eventually form that base and then come back up, rival the 9,990 top, rival the 11,700 top, rival the 17,000, and then the 20,000, and then who knows where we go beyond there, right? It's the same way. This is what happens in all bubble markets across the board. They all go through these very similar patterns. You can look at the NASDAQ bubble as a modern example of what happened during the dot-com bubble. The market tanked, took a massive hit, took 15 years for the market to come back and then exceed that top. It doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to take 15 years, but people just need to understand that it's going to take time. And if you're looking for these fast, crazy price movements like we saw in the past, well, then you're going to be mistaken, because those are obviously long gone, and you can see that the moves to the upside are getting smaller and smaller and smaller as you can see these arches getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's why I draw them out. If you're wondering what that banging noise is, that's a 3-year-old going a little crazy trying to break in my office. But anyways, so as of now, I'm going to say once again, you need to exercise caution. This is obviously a seller's market. We can clearly see that. And you need to be cautious and understand we are hovering around the bottom for Bitcoin, and this is not good at all. It would have been different had we had massive explosive price movement with volume, and that volume sustained itself, but it did not. And I keep saying this, that they're bear flags, they're guppy rallies, they're called sucker rallies. It's big money escaping their positions. It could be exchanges trying to manipulate price to hold price at a certain level, because their entire business model is transactional. So if there are less people making transaction, meaning less and less people coming into the market, it's not great for the business model whatsoever. And if you don't believe me, look at how much you pay in fees, gather that all up, and then come back to me and tell me that they don't make a freaking killing. And we can see some of the exchanges on how fast they've grown and the amounts of money that they're able to bring in that really emphasize that. So to them, the best thing they could do is stabilize this market, is to hold the market. And if it requires manipulation, they're going to do it, regardless of what the Department of Justice wants to say about it or what everyone else wants to say about it. The manipulation is going to be there, because their entire future as a business relies on transactions. So this could be exchanges, this could be big money. Whoever it is, people are definitely siphoning their money out, and they're not coming back into this market at the moment. They could be waiting for a lower drop, maybe into the low 5s, maybe the low 4s, maybe the low 3s. Who knows where the future is going to bring us? We're playing this day by day. I'm not trying to give you a crystal ball analysis and gauge what's going to happen exactly in the future. I do not trade that way. That can lead to bad trading, bad trading. It can just, sorry, I got interrupted, but it can lead you to make decisions you should not make because you're fixated on this crazy figure, whether it's low or whether it's high. So hopefully everybody likes the video, likes the content. As of now, it does not look good. I talked about the bear flag. That's exactly where we're at. We're in the bear flag territory. The only good thing is that I see here, again, just to recap it all, is that the drops are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So that could be a positive sign unless we see another mega bar to the downside. And if we see that, then the real panic is really going to start to begin, and that's not going to be good for anybody. But where there's chaos, there's always opportunity. So understand that. Where there is chaos, there is always opportunity. All right. So if you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe, follow. I'll produce another video tomorrow evening. I try to do them every single day in the evening, probably around like 5:30 or so Eastern Standard Time, New York time. If you've not joined the Slack channel, that's absolutely free. Over 350 members there from all across the globe. It's cryptocurrency oriented. It's just a nice, friendly bunch of people that share their own analysis, opinions, and even charts. It's just a nice environment if you're looking for a community of people to join. Absolutely free. Go to my site, geometriccharts.com. At the bottom, I have my social media links, and then I have the links to my Slack channel as well. If you want something more in depth, like where I provide morning and night analysis, as well as buy entry, stops, profit targets, etc., I do provide a subscription service over at geometriccharts.com. You can go there, learn more about that. But other than that, everybody have a great day, great night, and I will talk to everybody tomorrow.